Before the rise of kings and castles, before the Romans or even the Celts, England was a land of mystery, ruled by forgotten civilizations and ancient gods. But who were the first people to call this land home? Imagine an island that once stood at the edge of the known world, an island that would one day rule over a third of the planet. But before England became a global empire, it was a land of ancient settlers, mighty warriors, and legendary rebellions. From the mysteries of Stonehenge to the fall of Roman Britain, this is the untold story of how England's past shaped the world. This is where England's story begins, in the bones of the dead. Our story begins 30,000 years ago when the first modern humans arrived in England. They crossed over Doggerland, a land bridge that once connected Britain to Europe, now lost beneath the North Sea. But they weren't the first to walk these lands. Neanderthals and other early humans had lived here before, only to disappear with the arrival of new settlers. For thousands of years, these early Britons lived as hunters and gatherers, leaving behind only stone tools and cave drawings as evidence of their existence. Then, around 3000 BC, a major shift occurred. People stopped wandering and began building permanent homes. Agriculture arrived, and with it, the first true villages. One of the most famous relics of this era still stands today, Stonehenge. Built in 2200 BC, this massive stone circle in Wiltshire remains a mystery. Was it a temple, a burial site, a calendar? Whatever its purpose, it showed that ancient Britons had developed organized societies capable of complex engineering projects. Meanwhile, something else was fueling their civilization: bronze. The people of Britain discovered that mixing tin and copper created stronger tools and weapons, and Britain had something the rest of the world wanted: tin mines. Soon, trade networks connected England to Greece, Egypt, and even the Middle East, bringing wealth, culture, and power. But the world was changing again. Around 700 BC, a new group arrived: the Celts. The Celts were fierce warriors, armed with a new secret weapon: iron. Stronger than bronze, it gave them an advantage over the tribes already living in Britain. They built massive hill forts, like the 47-acre Maiden Castle in Dorset, from which local rulers commanded their warriors. Celtic society was deeply connected to nature and religion. Their priests, known as Druids, held great power, conducting rituals in sacred rivers and forests. Art flourished, with the Celts creating beautiful, swirling designs that still influence British culture today. By 325 BC, the outside world took notice. A Greek explorer named Pytheas landed in Britain, calling it Britannia. He found it to be a land of warriors, traders, and powerful chieftains. But soon Britannia would attract an even greater power: the might of Rome. In 55 BC, Julius Caesar led the first Roman expedition into Britain. He faced fierce resistance, and after a brief skirmish, he withdrew. But Rome wasn't done. Nearly 100 years later, in 43 AD, Emperor Claudius launched a full-scale invasion. This time the Romans came to stay. One by one, the Celtic kingdoms fell. Some Celtic leaders allied with Rome, hoping to keep their power. Others, like the warrior Caractacus, resisted, but he was eventually captured. By 50 AD, most of Britain was under Roman rule. But one woman refused to submit: Boudica. Boudica was the queen of the Iceni tribe, and when the Romans annexed her kingdom, they brutalized her family. Enraged, she raised an army of 100,000 warriors and burned the Roman cities of Colchester and London to the ground. Rome was caught off guard, but when their forces regrouped, they trapped and annihilated Boudica's army in a decisive battle. Defeated, she either took poison or died of illness, but her rebellion had shaken Roman Britain to its core. After Boudica's defeat, Rome tightened its grip on Britain. The Romans built massive cities like Londinium, Eboracum, and Aquae Sulis, introducing stone architecture, roads, and advanced trade networks. The wealthiest Romans lived in lavish villas, while common Britons worked the land. But Rome had a problem. It couldn't hold on to its empire forever. By the 3rd century AD, Britain faced constant raids from Saxons, Picts, and Scots. In 367 AD, these groups launched a massive invasion, overwhelming Roman defenses. The empire, already struggling, couldn't send reinforcements. In 410 AD, the last Roman soldiers left Britain. Without them, Roman cities fell into decay, roads crumbled, trade collapsed, and once again, Britain was left to forge its own destiny. With Rome gone, Britain stood at a crossroads. The Celts remained, but new invaders, the Angles, Saxons, and Vikings, were coming. The land that would one day become England was about to enter a new age of war, kings, and conquest. But that is a story for another time. If you are interested, then comment interested and also like the video and subscribe to the channel for such amazing history.